What's good? It's your boy Tab Money, and today I'm gonna start my series about magical traditions or lore magic and higher magic or folk magic and ceremonial magic, however you want to put it. So these are the series about magical religions or magical practices or spiritualities or paths, basically occultism in its esoteric form. And today I'm gonna talk about Afro-American Houdon or Hoodoo, or however you want to put it. And this is an African American folk tradition, folk magic, and it's all about it's mixed with Christian mysticism, folk Catholicism, and powwow in Native American practices. Everything is mixed with this. But also, this is the official spirituality or religion of the foundational Black Americans, if they still exist, which I know they do. But this is like their personal religion. So you can be Christian, you can be Ife, Palamanunde, Santeria, any of those practices that you practice as African traditional religions and Native American traditions. You can practice Afro-American Hoodoo or Houdon and stuff like that. So this is basically an FBA, personal religion, personal path, personal occult. It's basically Negro occultism. You know, they don't, and it not have to be basically based upon if a Monday or any of even voodoo and stuff. We deal with ancestor veneration or, honoring our ancestors, thanking our ancestors. But we would really just work with the ancestors that we come from. And that's what Afro-American hoodoo is. You know what I'm saying? It's all about connecting with our ancestors and venerating them and, making altars of them and stuff like that. You can work with saints as well. Folk Catholicism is mixed within African American hoodoo and stuff like that, or Black American hoodoo or Afro-American hoodoo, however you want to put it. So hoodoo is basically meant for Black folks. There is a section for white folks that goes by voodoo, because white folks be like the main ones who want to practice African traditional religions, just how powerful it is and how amazing it is. Also, you got to honor your ancestors as well, or basically the forefathers that founded the Americans. So it's basically white American voodoo or woodon. But that video will come out soon about that as well. So Afro-American hoodoo, you work with the Orishas, the Loa, but mostly your ancestors, but mainly you definitely work with the Orishas and the Loa and many African continent, many of the deities of the African continent, right along with the entities that's under them or below them or connected to them, however you want to put it. So that's when it really comes down to what Afro-American hoodoo or hoodoo. It's all about African American magic or folk magic and dealing with the herbs and stones and roots and root work and stuff and all the stuff that you have in your house and so on and so forth. They can make magical use of, candle magic. The list goes on and on about Afro-American hoodoo. So it's basically Negro occultism or FBA occultism. It's all about, following the traditions of Native Americans, African traditional religions, and many other traditions, even European folklore and traditions, like dealing with fairies and different realms and stuff like that. So Afro-American hoodoo is a universal term of Negro occultism, or basically Negroes or Black people who practice occultism in general. And that's what it really stands for. But you mainly work with the Orishas and the Loa, the Egyptian gods or the Kemetic gods as well. Many other entities and deities that you can really work with in this practice or form of coven. So this could be considered as a coven as well. But it's like hoodoo is a personal practice of your individual path, and hoodoo is like a group of covenants that practice hoodoo. That's what it really comes down to when it comes to these traditional folk magic traditions. And that's what I'm trying to put into words. But that's what Afro-American hoodoo is. It's basically Negro occultism, African American magic, and so on and so forth. So I hope you understand. There's going to be more explained in the description of this video if you want to know fully what I'm trying to say. It's hard for me to put it in words at some point, but I know I made it clear what it's about. It's all about ancestors veneration. It's all about working with the Orishas and the Loa, the Kemetic gods, basically any deities and entities of the African continent, and mainly deities that's in the Caribbean islands where the Tainos once live in, and also Native American practices as well. So it's a mixture of everything in there, you know what I mean? That's what it really comes down to. So I hope you get understanding what I said in this video. If you do, get a like, subscribe. So be on the lookout for the series of these folk magic traditions, explaining them and stuff like that. So stay tuned. So peace.